This is the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio. In association with Haversley, experts in the sale of lettings, estate agency and block management businesses. If you're thinking of selling now or in the next 5 years, get in touch. They're a friendly bunch at haversleygroup.com.
Hello and welcome to the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show here on the New Horizon Radio, your weekly mix of fashion, film, theatre, books and brilliant conversation. I'm Nancy Stevens. We've got a packed show for you today. We're talking about The Bodyguard, the iconic musical that brought drama and powerhouse vocals to the stage. I'm diving into Shirley Ballas' brand new autobiography full of glitz, glamour and grit behind the sequins. There's Strictly Sparkle and a little bit of Traitors gossip too, because let's be honest, who doesn't love a little bit of behind the scenes buzz? Plus, we're going to be talking about the Bruce Springsteen biopic, deeply moving, that's getting everyone's attention. And I'm going to be sharing my experience at a wonderful jewellery workshop with Corzo Wood. Their pieces are absolutely stunning, and I'm thrilled to say that they will be joining me in the studio later. So stay tuned. It's going to be an inspiring, entertaining hour filled with stories, sparkle and a little bit of soul. And I'm working with Waterstones and talking about Shirley Ballas' Best Foot Forward, her amazing book, Life Lessons from the World of Dance. So it's a kind of a follow-on from her autobiography from a few years ago, but it doesn't hold back. But in honour of Shirley, I've got all sparkly today. The reason I'm sparkly today is A, because Christmas is next month and it's never too early to crack open the sequins, and B, because I've got the amazing Corzo Wood coming on my show later to talk about their wonderful jewellery workshops, hence the lovely pendant I'm wearing, but more of that later. Anyway, this book is an absolute delight, and Shirley does not hold back. I really feel that it was written by her. Obviously, a lot of celebrity books are ghostwritten, but it just felt like I could hear her voice, the way she speaks on Saturday Night on Strictly as head judge. This is how it came across. So it felt very, very authentic. Her resilience is unbelievable. I mean, she left home at something like 14 or 15 to go and dance. She left her. I mean, you cannot imagine being that young and leaving home, but that's all she wanted to do. And she took buses and trains and stayed with people who, she didn't really know, and her mum was super supportive of her love of dance, and that's all she wanted to do. And my God, this perseverance has paid off. I guess there's a reminder, but behind sort of the glamour and all the sparkle and the sequins, there's grit, determination and a whole lot of heart. And she really does talk about her disastrous relationships. Unfortunately, I can relate in many ways. She's had 2 marriages. The second was to Corky Ballas, with whom she reached world champion status, and then she's got her wonderful son Mark, who's won Dancing with the Stars 3 times. He's the most incredible dancer, so it runs in the genes. But as she talks about winning the world championships and the kind of cost of her personal life and being a mother, juggling, looking after Mark and actually just wanting to be world champion. And that was really hard as someone who really wants something or wanted something. She said she sacrificed a lot of time with her baby and her young son. She talks very frankly about her brother's suicide. I think he died about 20 years ago, and it's so sad. And she feels really guilty because at that point of her life she was doing really well, but unfortunately she was being stalked. So she had asked her mum, with whom she's incredibly close, her mum is the linchpin of everything she does, to come and stay with her in London. And whilst they were down there in London, her brother committed suicide, and she still feels guilt that she should have been there, or if her mum had been there, this wouldn't have happened. But we all know, with what we know about mental health and suicide now, that if someone wants to take their life, there is nothing you can do. So it's really heartwarming, and she supports lots of charities, Calm and suicide awareness, and she's put so much back. She really has. She talks about her absent father, but as I say, her mum is the centre of everything that she does. Her mum sounds quite formidable. She sounds a little bit scary, but everything Shirley does, she sort of runs past her mum as well. But it is a wonderful book. I really enjoyed it, and she's got all these sort of wonderful little life lessons, as I say, from the world of dance. But it's putting your best foot forward, means showing up with intention, playing to your strengths, and having a willingness to work hard. And she really, really does. So no one knows more about the world of shiny floors, sambas, and sequins more than Strictly's head judge, Shirley Ballas. And even as head judge on Strictly, subsequent to writing this, she is no longer head judge, in that every week a different judge that makes a decision to be head judge that week, because she has been trolled so much about some of her decisions to send dancers home that they very wisely have decided that each week it'll be somebody else. But she basically still is head judge. We all know and love her, and this is an incredible book. And if you love dance, there's so many lessons about dance in there, but it's mostly about life, and I absolutely loved it. Shirley Ballas, Best Foot Forward, available at Waterstones, Milton Keynes. And talking of icons with heart, there's another legend who's inspired a brand new biopic. Yes, it's the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen. Now, if you're a fan of the boss, you will absolutely love the new Bruce Springsteen biopic, Deliver Me From Nowhere. I keep wanting to call it Born to Run or Born in the USA. Deliver Me From Nowhere doesn't sound logical until you see the film. The movie charts his difficult childhood. He had an alcoholic father, and his father is brilliantly portrayed by Stephen Graham. It's incredible to see him playing an American, actually, so that's quite interesting. And again, how poor. I really struggle with the word poor. My kids take the mickey out of me, actually, growing up in New Jersey. And his battle with mental health. And when in those days, men did not talk about mental health. And it really was, I didn't actually know a lot about this. I guess, when I heard his interview on Radio 2 last week with Scott Mills and Jeremy Allen White, who actually plays Bruce Springsteen, and it was a really interesting interview, and I'm really glad I heard this before I saw the film. I mean, if Jeremy Allen White doesn't win an Oscar for his portrayal as Bruce Springsteen, I will eat my showbiz hat. He is absolutely phenomenal, and Bruce Springsteen actually chose him to portray him. I mean, that's some accolade. Jeremy Allen White was famous from The Bear, and Springsteen had seen him on The Bear and loved his performance and thought that he would be excellent to play him. And Jeremy Allen White said, "But I can't sing, I can't play the guitar." And Bruce Springsteen said, "Well, you can learn. We can teach you that. But there's something about you that reminds me of me." And my goodness, what a powerhouse of a performance! Absolutely incredible. But going back to the mental health. He really, really is in a dark place for a long time, and this mental health is familial. It runs through the family. His dad has still has mental health issues. He's had aunts and cousins. But in those days, it just wasn't talked about. And this was just early 80s. Men definitely didn't talk about their feelings. But his manager, brilliantly played by Jeremy Strong from Succession, seeks the help for him, and Bruce Springsteen gets the help that he needs. But there's many a time that he's in a really dark place and he just doesn't want to go on. But this whole movie it's not what you expect. So I would say that if you're going to see sort of hit after hit, and it's not a Bohemian Rhapsody type movie, like that. It's the bit before he becomes really famous. It's the bit before Born in the USA, and how he's writing this album called Nebraska, and Glory Days are on there, etc. But it's how intensely focused he is on the process, and how he wants everything, or wanted everything, to be just authentic and gritty and real. And he was a difficult person to work with, because he said to the record company, "I'm not going to tour this, I'm not going to do any press, I'm not doing any television, I don't even want to be in the album cover, I just want the music to speak to him for itself." I mean, that's seriously ballsy to do that. That's an incredibly brave decision, and that's someone who really knows their worth and what they've written. And these songs are gritty and a sort of a kind of a portrayal of his life growing up, as I say, in this really sort of difficult town, and with poverty, as I say, and alcoholism and unemployment was rife. So but his Springsteen story is pure Americana. It's heart, hustle, and that raw working class spirit that runs through every one of his songs. I've seen the boss perform at Wembley, 3.5 hours of incredible energy, and he's just up and down that stage. And now that I've seen the film, and then I go back and I take myself back to that performance at Wembley sort of 15 years ago, I can see where that drive comes from. That still at the age of 70 something, he is still driving. He still wants to perform, and it is an incredible film. It's very, very moving. There were a few I'm really trying to hold back the tears. It doesn't pull any punches. Incredible acting. And Jeremy Allen White's voice, I mean, you close your eyes and you think it's Springsteen. It was quite funny in the interview. He did say he really would like to learn to play the guitar, and they said, mate, you haven't got time. You've got to learn 15 songs and that's it. So but very, very authentic. Really, really authentic, and as I say, not glamorized at all. So Deliver Me From Nowhere, if you're a Bruce Springsteen fan, you will absolutely love it, but do take tissues. And speaking of big personalities and brilliant performances, let's talk Strictly and a little bit of Traitors gossip, shall we? From the boss to the ballroom, but let's talk the showbiz equivalent of the Ravens leaving the tower. Tess and Claudia are leaving Strictly. What the actual? I mean, that was literal breaking news. But I have to say, and by the time my show goes out, we may know more, but it's well sus. It really is. There is something very fishy going on there. I don't know what's going on. But the fact that they announced kind of casually on an Instagram post at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning that they were leaving together and that they were always going to leave together, I'm sorry, but I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. I think there is something afoot there. The BBC would normally have done some sort of press release and they would have announced that these are BBC employees. Why have Tess and Claudia on a random Thursday morning gone on air, gone live on Instagram and just said that they were leaving and they were always going to leave together? I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Tess has been there since the beginning for 21 years, and Claudia's been there for 10, and they do make they are great together. I think maybe it's time for a change. I don't know if one of them has been pushed, and they always said they were going to go together. It is pure speculation on my part. Having said that, I've heard via social media that there was a story being one of the papers was going to drop a story about them, and that's why they went and made the announcement first. I don't know. We may never find out, but it is huge news. I mean, these two kind of bastions of broadcasting for the BBC on primetime television, this is big news. So it kind of overshadowed Strictly's Icons evening on Saturday night, which I wasn't really, really sort of loving, to be honest with you. I just didn't feel it. But I actually think Lavoie as Cher was the best thing about the night. I've been very open about the fact I love Lavoie, and I think she should take over from either Tess or Claudia, because she's just such a natural presenter and so deadpan and doesn't take anything too seriously. And it was very funny when they were up at the Clauditorium and Lavoie said something about applying for a job to Claudia, and then she just sort of stepped in and sort of went, Tess, that's exactly what Claudia would do. Talk to camera, over to Tess. What they do is not rocket science. So the way she did it was really funny, and everyone's going, Lavoie should be the new presenter. She's absolutely brilliant. I just think she's amazing. Obviously, that's not going to happen. Names in the mix are Hannah Waddingham, Rylan. There's a couple of comedians, which I'm not even going to mention their names because I hope to God they don't get it. I think Hannah Waddingham would be great. She's like 3-1. Zoe Ball would be amazing. She's presented It Takes Two. So there's lots of people in the mix. Rylan and Rob Rinder would be great together, but I don't know whether they'd do two guys. I think they might go back to the original format of a man and a woman together, because having two female presenters was quite revolutionary. It was quite cutting edge at the time. So we shall see. But Icons Week was definitely overshadowed by the fact that two icons were leaving. So watch this space. Shirley Ballas, of course, never misses a beat. I loved her comments. She was dressed as Elvis on Saturday night. All the judges were dressed up, but she was incredible. And after reading her autobiography, I think I love her even more. But if ballroom drama isn't enough for you, Celebrity Traitors is frustratingly only on twice a week. I mean, come on. That's just not enough. And the Faithfuls, what are you doing? I absolutely despair. I'm getting cross now because you have still not caught a faithful. And I think the problem with this particular version, i.e. the celebrity version, is why they've not caught a traitor yet, because in the non-celeb version, traitors were caught by now, is because all the celebs know, or they think they know each other, so they've got preconceived ideas. There's a lot of pussyfooting around, being polite, or supposition, thinking, oh well, I know, or so and so wouldn't do that, or Jonathan wouldn't do that, or Alan wouldn't do that. Well, yes, they would, because they are traitors and they are playing a damn good game. Having said that, Alan forgot that he had got the shield, which was a bit of an own goal. So maybe his card is marked. I don't know. I think Jonathan will be on next out. But come on, faithfuls, drop what you think you know. The traitors are making an absolute mug of you, but Alan is still absolutely brilliant. And from TV twist to something a little bit more hands-on, I've got a fabulous jewellery workshop story to share next with a brilliant team from Corzo Wood, who just happened to be today's guests. I had the absolute pleasure of doing a jewellery workshop with a talented team at Corzo Wood. The designs are exquisite, full of personality, and are completely one of a kind. The workshop was amazing, actually. They're based in this, as I said, gorgeous little workshop out near Mursley. Absolutely gorgeous, next to a farm shop, and there's a little farm there with alpacas and sheep, and it just feels so rural, and like you're stepping back into. It just felt very special, and it was a very sort of rainy, drizzly morning when I got there, and I was a little bit nervous. I didn't know what to expect, and I was there from 9 till 1:30, and I had the best time, actually. Violeta and Sarah, who are going to be guests on my show, are just so warm and so welcoming. And Violeta, or commonly known as V, she ran the workshop, and she was so patient, because there were times I was like, I'm not sure what to do, I'm a bit nervous, and she guided me without patronizing me or taking over, or I did feel like I'd actually made this beautiful pendant, actually. So this is the process. It's quite a lot, as I say, which is why you're there for so long. So I sort of cut the heart template. So I'm just showing you sort of the my little pendant, actually. So I had to cut it with a metal saw. I had to file it, stamping, which I've got the boy's initials there, and a little cat paw print on the back, actually. It's super cute, actually. So I had to cut the heart template, cut it with a metal saw, which was quite difficult, filed it, and then stamping, as I say, which was the most stressful part, with the boy's initials and the little cat paw. More filing, soldering, heating, drilling, and then oxidizing the patterns. So that's the thing that sort of makes the letters go dark, so you can actually see them pop. So that was incredible to just sort of see that process sort of take place, actually, and then lots and lots of polishing as well. So much involved, actually. It was very cathartic. I really, really enjoyed the process, and it was just so wonderful to be able to make something myself, actually, because even though I'm a creative, I'm not creative in making things. I don't sew, I don't cook, so to be able to make my own handcrafted piece of jewelry was really special. And honestly, the owners are just so lovely. So what's even better, the fabulous owners will be joining me in the studio to share their story, how they started, what inspires their collections, and a few insider tips on picking pieces that make a super, super incredible statement. So if you love beautiful handcrafted jewelry and a little bit of behind the scenes creativity, you're going to love this conversation. I'm delighted to be joined in the studio by Violeta, Corzo and Sarah Wood, also known as Corzo Wood. I went to do an amazing jewelry workshop there a couple of weeks ago, and I'm delighted to talk to the ladies about their passion, why they do what they do, and the joy that they instill, certainly into me when I did my workshop. So welcome to the studio, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lovely to have you in. I'm going to start with the fact that I'm wearing my pendant. I absolutely love it, and just for the purpose of camera, no, we'll talk about that more in a minute. But the whole process was just joyous, and thank you, V, for making me feel so incredibly welcome. And you didn't patronise me at all, even when I was feeling really unsure of myself. So thank you for that, because as I was saying earlier, as a creative, I can't sew, I can't cook, and it seems crazy, incongruous, because I dress people for a living. But this is so new. I've never done anything like this before. So it was so joyous. A long process, though, isn't it?
It is a long process, yeah. And you can't miss out any of the processes, because then you don't get the final piece as polished or as beautiful as you have with yours. So we must go through all of the processes.
And as I said, it was. I was there from 9 o'clock till 1:30, nearly 2 o'clock. And you sort of think when I looked at the sort of the notes, the joining notes, and I'm thinking, why is it going to take that long? I don't understand. But when you get there and you think, oh my God, this is why, because you can't skip a stage or a step. You have to do everything sequentially. And as someone who's quite impatient and someone who doesn't like reading instructions, I was like, But actually, it was really good because you guided me through the process, and every step, made sense, and you explained why. So that was brilliant. So thank you for making it, idiot proof for someone like me. But it is a long process, isn't it?
It is, and part of what we do is we still remember what it was like when we first went into a classroom, and with our first jewellery session and thinking about what we had to do, and we want to make it as welcoming to everyone. We don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. It doesn't matter whether you might be quite creatively gifted or not, but we want to make sure that everyone gets something really, really good out of it. So we have developed the workshop so they really are step by step, and we show first. We show the skill first, and then you're given the opportunity to do it yourself. And obviously, if people need help, we are there to help, but the whole aim is that you make the piece from start to finish, as you did, Nancy.
It was so wonderful. But I suppose the question is, why jewellery? Why workshops? Sarah, when did this all come about?
Came about by accident, really, didn't it?
Yes.
We met at college. We had an immediate passion for metal and silver, and a love of jewellery, which we've both had our whole lives. And after having an opportunity to teach adult education and see how that worked, teaching a large class with everybody doing a different project, it was very, very difficult to get everybody to a finish point.
Can you imagine 30 Nancys trying to do their thing? Oh my God, the mind boggles.
And people on a project that maybe wasn't suitable for the skill level. So we've had our we really cut our teeth in that class, didn't we? We loved it. It became a bit of family. We've become friends. We're still friends with everybody now. And then when we decided to start the business, we knew that when we did it, that we would want to make it as efficient and as enjoyable, and not a cookie cutter experience, so that everybody has an individual piece that's tailored to them, but make it really stress free. I think that was our aim, and to be as creative as possible, even if you think you're not creative.
Absolutely. And I think the cookie cutter thing is absolutely bang on the nail, because it definitely didn't feel like that at all. The only cutting was obviously having to cut it out, but you made that so straightforward, even though I was like, oh God, I've got these sharp implements and I shouldn't really be left with sharp implements, and there's heat and there's knives and there's files, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most cack-handed person in the world. But thank you for making it so easy, and we're going to talk through the process in a minute, so stay tuned for that, because it is a long process. And we're talking before the break about the process, and V, it was a long process. I think back now and I watch the video of what I did. I think I did all that, but you were very good and you guided me through. But each process, talk us through the process in a sort of layman's terms, really, and why we have to do what we do. Or what we did with mine, for instance,
So making a pendant. So you did the half-day pendant workshop.
But there's a full day, is there?
There is a full day.
Oh my God, I don't think I could. Oh wow, okay.
So yes, the full day would involve some more complicated skills. So the half day, what we focus on mainly are shapes and textures. So you were able to choose the shape that you wanted. So you made your heart, and then we focused on texture. And you've done yours double-sided as well, haven't you?
Yes, that was interesting, though, wasn't it?
Yes. So the first thing we decide on the shape, and then we show you how you would saw the shape out. And there's a process that we use to make sure that you've got everything you need before you start sawing. So we check to make sure that the saw you're going to use is the right saw for the size of metal. We then also check the saw blade to make sure that it's nice and taut, so that it's going to slice through the metal a lot easier. We put beeswax on the saw blade so that we can get started sawing a little bit easier, and so we go through all of that and show you how to hold the saw, because traditionally everyone thinks that we're going to slant the saw like you do in woodwork, but we keep it nice and upright, and then you get started on our special jewellers benches. So there's a way of sitting as well, which we had to go through with you. And yeah, once you get started, then you saw your piece out. And then what we did was we filed the top of the piece, so the piece that you were going to texture first. So you went through several grades of filing. With each one of the grades, then the piece gets shinier and shinier. Do you remember how
lovely,
satisfying that was? And then once we'd done all of that, then you were able to texture. So you could choose between the hammers or the stamps to create your texture. And I think you did your stamps first, and then once we'd done that, we reversed it, went through the filing process again, and then you were able to hammer on the second side of it. And then it's about refining the edges of your piece. So we then use metal files to refine the edges, and then again we go back to the filing papers. So yeah, it all takes a while.
Do you know what I was thinking as you're saying that? I'm thinking it's a great analogy for life. We need to take time. We need to use the right tools. We need to think about what we're doing, and there's no quick way to get there. You can't rush things, and it's all about a process, isn't it? So it is about, as you say, you can't rush it, and there are certain ways of doing it, because I think maybe, do you see people who just want to get in there and think they know what they're doing, and you're like, oh no, just hold your horses?
Yeah, we do get some people that want everything yesterday. In fact, one of our employees, when she first started working with us, she just wanted to do everything quickly, because they get an opportunity to experience the workshops. But over time, she's realised how important it is to do all the stages, and she actually really enjoys all the filing now that in the beginning she absolutely detested. But because that at the end of it you're going to get a really fantastic piece, she's realised the importance of it and really enjoys the process. So yeah, it works. If you do it properly, it works. We can help you make an amazing piece of jewellery in either half a day or a full day.
I mean, I am so thrilled with my piece of jewellery. Every time I wear it, people go, I absolutely love your jewellery. And now it's special because, I did it, I made it, I went through the process. And I think for me, the most stressful thing was the, putting the initials, that was really stressful because, you don't know what it's going to look like because you're doing it sort of almost opposite. So I got my boy's initials, and then I wanted a cat paw on the back and everything. So that was interesting, but I feel like I've got it, and it's imperfect, and it's a bit like me, and it's imperfect, but a bit sparkly. So thank you for your patience though. And we'll talk a little bit more after the break about how do you choose the perfect piece of jewelry. And we were talking just before the break about what's the perfect piece of jewelry, where do you get your inspiration from? And we've got this beautiful piece here, V, which I'm just going to hold it up to camera. It's just incredible. Talk us through that process.
So that bangle was my labour of love. Yeah. I had this piece on my bench probably for about a year, and just doing it in my very small bits of spare time. So this has been made entirely from pieces of scrap from students, really, anything that gets left over after a workshop. So the tiny little bobbles on the bangle are from tiny bits of scrap that I've just then melted down. I'm not sure if you could see in the photo that it's also got bits of chain, so broken chain wound around it, and then other bits of wire, and it just took a long time. So first of all, I wound the wire around, and then soldered some of the pieces together, and then interwove the bits of broken chain and soldered those on, and then it was a case of creating all the little bobbles to then solder on bit by bit. So
it's beautiful, honestly.
And then obviously oxidization. Not everyone likes oxidization, and what oxidization is the process that we use to blacken the silver and give it sort of a bit more of it looks like an antique piece. And then so when we oxidize it, we make it go really black. And in fact, you did that with your pendant, didn't you, Nancy? And then once it's all black, then we very gently file off any of the blackness we don't want, so that parts of the piece are really shiny.
It's honestly, it's so beautiful. I mean, you're both so incredibly creative. Sarah, what do you have a favourite piece? Or, and I think you said off air about the fact that, it's a bit of a busman's holiday, if you do make jewellery, it's probably rare because you're so busy running workshops. But do you feel like you're missing out on that, or you're just enjoying the process of just teaching so much? We do love teaching, but we do love making jewellery. And if we could sit all day making jewellery, we would. But obviously you have to be able to do something with it. So that's why we've ended up with a shop and, with the teaching, with the workshop. And it's a perfect marriage, really, isn't it? Yeah. The two things together. I think for me, it's texture. We like texture and movement in our jewellery. So everything has like this thing. I love that actually. Yeah. So this is like a full day workshop, because you've got the soldered links. It's soldered on the back, and there is movement in that piece. Yeah. And the texture. So inspiration from quite a lot of natural forms. So. Pebbles and leaves and the natural world. We call this is a ripple. That's beautiful though. We use a lot of sort of texture with a traditional hammer that can make sort of a bark texture. And to be honest with you, we've never run out of ideas. I think the ideas are not a problem. It's for us to find time. We make the pieces for the shop, and we obviously make pieces, commission pieces. And that, I think, at the moment, with the work that we've got is enough. And then we'll introduce new pieces. So there will be new pieces for the season. So we've just got some pieces now for this next season, which obviously is Christmas. So yeah, we are literally creating and thinking about new ideas all the time, aren't we? And our workshops, obviously, that's your bread and butter. So we're going to come back a little bit and talk about sort of how we book workshops and how you sort of structure the workshops, because I didn't realise that there was a full day workshop. Even though the clue is in the half day workshop, I should have realised it would actually be followed by a full one. But yeah, gosh, from a patient's perspective, I don't think you would have wanted me to be there the whole day. But anyway, I'm very happy with what I made. So we'll be talking about the workshops. Sarah, you were just sort of saying that the process is very cathartic for some people, and I did find it hugely cathartic. But how do you structure your workshops? Because that must take an awful lot of organisation. As you said before, it is a process, and what we're trying to achieve is that it's stress-free, it's relaxed, that the pace it's not horrifically fast, but ultimately you are going to leave with a beautiful finished piece at the end of the session. So obviously we've got it sort of timed, throughout half a day or a day to achieve that end. There's lots of tea, lots of coffee, lots of breaks, lots of biscuits and things. But yeah, it's a well-oiled process that we've kind of honed now over the years, and we are really focused on getting the most out of the piece of jewellery, but bringing out the best in you. Most people say, I'm not creative at all. That we hear that all the time. Actually, people are. They just don't realise, and they might be creative in other ways. And there'll be parts of it you'll find frustrating. Not everybody likes filing. I love filing. I find it very mindful. But hopefully during the day there are processes that people absolutely love, and that wow factor at the end when it comes out of that polishing machine, and it's there it is, your hard work in your hand, that payoff. We still get that with the pieces we make, and then see your face at the end of it when you finished. It's fantastic. I mean, it is just, it's the best, because to me, I went on a floral wreath making workshop with one of my other guests, Karis, about 6 months ago, and it was a peacock peacock feathers and sparkle and everything, and it was wonderful. And again, I went and my approach was different to the way my sister went in, and I guess for you it's quite interesting the psychology behind the way people behave. Yes. Whether they go diving or they're like, oh, okay. But in terms of you've got your half day and your full day ones, I mean, what other workshops do you offer? Because obviously it's the pendants, it's the rings.
Yeah, so when we move on to half day tends to be an unsoldered item, so you can still have movement. It'd be an earring, a stud, a hoop, pendant, a ring, or an upcycled antique fork or spoon into a ring. That is a half day project. When we move into the day, that's when we're joining items together, soldering, so things like the spinning rings that have a base.
Because I'm having a look at that, because I'm wondering what a spinning ring actually.
So they're based from years ago in prayer and meditation, so the movement offers a sort of soothing quality. They're really good for anxiety. They do exactly what they say. They do really, well, we call them spinners or spinning rings, but they're known as prayer rings. What else do they call them?
Meditation rings.
Fidget rings. Yeah. Mine's got a base of florals that have been oxidised, and it has one ring that spins. However, we can put as many as 3 spinners onto the ring, and they really are, I mean, they're soothing. The other part of it is obviously the inside of it, when you pop it onto your finger, that it is very smooth.
3.
Yeah, there's some more there. That's a really, really popular day course, and we've been doing these for many years. That hasn't really, the trend for this hasn't moved away. It's just more and more popular. We sell lots in the shop. We make them to order, and then obviously you can make them. So that would be a day, because you're probably make your base ring, and then you probably would do another 3 rings, so you're making 4 rings, constructing it. Bangles is a day. Bangles with something on, again, where you're adding something, is a day, and then joining them together, like these 3 are joined together. That would be a day project. And anything like my necklace, where you've got movement and it's joined, it's soldered, that's going to be a day project. What else do we do in a day?
Oh, it sounds like earrings. Earrings, yes, yeah, earrings, yeah.
You can imagine you're doing hoops that are joined together. But it's more stacking rings. So a group of 3, 5, 7, 12 rings.
Good Lord.
Embellished as well. That's a day. So again, it's tailored so that it's achievable, it's not stressful, and it's enjoyable. That's what we're there to create, an atmosphere where when you come in, you're not thinking about what you're making for dinner, you're not thinking about anything else, you're just in our little studio concentrating on something for you, and it's a time for you.
It really is. I did feel like I was in my sort of little bubble, actually, and when I first got there, I said to Via, I was going to film the process because I wanted to obviously do a vlog, but then after I thought, I did film bits, but I did the voiceover afterwards because I just wanted to be present. And that's the whole thing about doing something like this, is about being present and enjoying the process, because we spend our whole lives just thinking, what about what's next, instead of just being focused and being present. And I think that's why your workshops are so successful, is that it's yes, what you make is so beautiful, but it is, as you mentioned, the P word, the process, the journey, is so special. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more after the break about what's your favourite workshop. I'm talking to V and Sarah, and we are having the best time. We are laughing our socks off in here. Sarah was regaling us of a tale where she inadvertently made an ugly angel, which has had us all in hysterics. But V, we're going to talk about your favourite workshop, and then we're going to also talk about how important sustainability is to you as a brand.
Yes. Yes, thank you. So both Sarah and I absolutely love earrings. In Sarah's case, the bigger the better. But we both quite like big earrings, but what we don't like are heavy earrings. So making earrings is one of our favourite workshops. Unfortunately, it's not the most popular. So when somebody books an earring workshop, we're like, yay, we can get our teeth into making some lovely earrings.
Gosh, I wonder why it's not as popular, actually. I mean, when you gave me the choice, when you very kindly invited me to come along, I chose a pendant because in my head I wanted a heart, but an earrings are what I wear every single day. I will not leave the house without earrings. So I don't know why I didn't pick that, actually. Interesting.
I don't know, because interestingly, what we sell the most in the shop are earrings. So we sell many more earrings than we do any other piece of jewellery, but it's not the most popular workshop.
It might be a returners project. It might be you've come in and done your pendant and then you come back and match earrings in.
Yeah.
So it doesn't tend to be the first one, but it might be the second.
Okay.
So yeah.
So lots of repeat business by the sounds of it. That's amazing to hear.
Yeah,
I mean, I love it when I hear small independent businesses thriving like this. I mean, it's just, and especially run by two strong women who really believe in what they're doing, and it's just such a wonderful success story, though, isn't it?
Thank you.
And a lovely shop, I have to say, before I forget about sparkles in the shop. For the purposes of radio, I have the sparkliest thing in my hair. I feel like Madonna. I've got the highest ponytail in the world. I'm sparkling. All that's missing is my Madonna mic. And I'm going to buy another, like a scrunchy thing. It's really good for if you've got really thick hair. It's just, I can't really describe it, but
I think they're called bird nests.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, that's what my hair looks like when I wake up in the morning, to be fair. But this is really good. And, and it sort of expands, and you just put it over your ponytail, and then it gets smaller, and then you've got this really pretty, you haven't got a big ugly scrunchie there. So I'm obsessed now. I've been looking for something like this. I didn't even know this sort of thing existed, but your shop is a veritable Aladdin's cave and a treasure trove of sparkly everything. It's just wonderful. Great for Christmas ideas.
We have a shop full. I mean, it's full most months, but at the moment we've had delivery after delivery, and it is made up of things that actually our customers have asked for over the years. It's a very small shop, but we pack it all in, and we've always got a really great accessory, a bag, a bit of fair trade, a beautiful candle. We try and pick something that's great quality and at different price points, and Violeta always says it doesn't have to cost the earth to get a great thoughtful gift. You can get something. Yep, something.
This is £6, and honestly, it has brought me so much joy. I'm so happy. Not as much as my pendant, I hasten to add, but I'm thrilled with this. It's actually brilliant. So, joking aside, the serious side of things, running a business is not easy, and obviously you've had to contend with lockdown as well, which let's not dwell on that because that was 5 years ago. But talk us through the sustainable side of things, because I know that's really, really important to you. Recycling metals and using scrap metal, and obviously silver is massively expensive. I think I heard you say V, it's gone up like 60% or something. Is that correct?
60% since the beginning of the year, which is shocking. But what's important is that all the silver that we use in the workshop, when we buy the silver, it is already recycled silver, and then anything that we're able to recycle in the workshop we do. So whether it's tiny little scraps of metal like I showed you earlier that have gone into my bangle to make those little baubles, or even the dust, we send away, we are able to recycle some of it ourselves, but we actually cannot recycle absolutely everything, and we send it away. So even our vacuuming gets sent away to be recycled. We recycle all the filing pads, the wipes that we use on the benches, and all of the silver is extracted from those. So we literally recycle every little last speck of dust that we can.
I mean, that's a devotion to sort of an ethical, sustainable business. I mean, was that the intention at the beginning?
No, it wasn't the intention in the beginning, but I think it was important to us. We were just getting to the point before COVID of asking for goods that come into the shop to be like the cards not coming in plastic, reducing the plastic waste. And then COVID hit, everybody became very germ afraid, and obviously everything's been put back into plastic, and that saw a massive change in how stuff was coming into us. We still obviously look at the sustainability, and a lot of our brands that we work with, small businesses, they're already thinking about that. So the packaging is, sustainable, recyclable. So there's a lot of thought, especially with the smaller brands that we have. They're already thinking about that, which is brilliant. And it's just coming. It's just trying to get out of that need to have everything covered again. It was a strange time that led people to be, people were worried about.
Absolutely,
about
yeah.
And we're trying to move away from that again, and what we see and what we get into the shop, the fair trade things, everything. It's very thoughtfully packaged, and we've got candles that are in recycled wine bottles. So the story of some of our products is amazing as well in terms of their sustainability.
That's absolutely fascinating, and we're going to just talk, unfortunately coming up to the end of the show because we've got so much to talk about, but next we're going to talk about some workshop dates and how to find you on the socials. We've had such fun actually talking to Violeta and Sarah from Corzo Wood, and I just wanted to talk to you about the amazing workshops that you've got coming up. The location, quickly before we forget, the location where you have got the shop is amazing, and then we'll talk workshops. So why did you choose this particular location?
We chose Mursley because we've got the workshop and the shop next door to each other, so it makes working a lot easier for V and I in terms of workshops, doing orders, running the shop, selling jewellery. So that works really, really well. We're on a beautiful site with the Mursley farm shop.
And that's a very nice farm shop. How I walked in and didn't buy loads of fresh bread and meringues and stuff, I do not know, but you'd fed me with biscuits, so that was good.
Yeah, they've got eggs, they've got everything. The food's great, the cafe's brilliant, loads of parking. It's got everything you want. It's got homemade ice cream, it's got children's play area, it has animals, and it's family run. There's lots of other little businesses there as well. It's just we call it's a happy place, because who's not happy with coffee, cake and jewellery? I mean, it's the best.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a great location near to Milton Keynes. In fact, it's just a good location geographically for us, for our workshops. We get people coming in from sort of all parts of the country.
I know, it's wonderful. So lots of workshops coming up. I mean, honestly, you've got so many Christmas ornament workshops coming up, and obviously you can find these on your socials. But you've got you can get, so all the tools and materials are included. Obviously you can purchase materials, obviously you can get your chains, etc., and then 20% of all full price items in our shop. So yeah, that was me buying stuff. So tell us about your socials, how we can find you on the socials, because everybody needs to know about you guys. Honestly, I just think, honestly, anybody who will listen, and this is the best advert, is wear my pendant. So how can we find you on the socials?
So we're on Instagram, so Corzo and Wood. We're also on Facebook. Facebook's actually a brilliant chatty place for us. Our customers like to chat on Facebook. And we are on TikTok as well, I believe.
We are.
Gosh, got all very progressive.
I know, frightening.
I know.
So yeah, there's we don't try and overload it. We just put up results, this is what's happened. We've got our 5-star reviews on there. We've got new stuff in the shop, any sort of charity stuff we're doing, or any projects that we've always got something fun going on. You'll see us live and large on Instagram and Facebook.
And our website.
Oh, sorry, and our lovely website.
Yes.
Where you can pick up a gift voucher, book a workshop, or purchase jewellery online as well. Yeah.
It's a very user-friendly website as well, actually. I have to say, some websites are not. Yours is great. And I forgot to show, I got a certificate. I haven't had a certificate in a long time, certificate of completion. So you get a certificate as well as your beautiful jewellery. But thank you so much. You've both been an absolute joy. We could have chatted for hours and hours. So thank you for inviting me to do the workshop in the first place. And I say every time I wear this, it makes me smile, and it sort of invites conversation, which is really, really important. So thank you so much, ladies. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
Good luck with all the workshops. I think that you're going to be really, really busy in the festive period. We're all going to break out our sparkles very soon. Well, I've already broken them out today. So
just to break them out.
Thank you so much, ladies, and thank you very much for joining me today on the Nancy Stevens Lifestyle Show. I hope that you have an amazing week, and we're going to start to get a little bit festive. Thank you.